Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Casting Angles with Mac Brown. How you doing, Mac?
Doing great, Marvin. How are you doing?
As always, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. We've had kind of, for some of us older timers, I wouldn't say we're old timers, more traditional kind of late winter, early spring weather in the mid-Atlantic. What have you seen in Bryson City, and what have you seen on the water?
Well, it's been really, really cold the last few nights, and we were down in the teens. This morning, we were up in the 70s a couple of weeks ago, nice weather, and that cold weather definitely has put a slowdown on it the last few days. And it should be back. We're supposed to get back warm midweek and back in the 70s, low 70s here. So we'll get back seeing a lot of good activity up on the top. But the cold weather, we didn't really see the hatches and a lot of bugs up top or anything like that the last few days.
Got it. And I guess we're getting pretty close, right, to DH being ready to go, right?
Yeah, the state water's going to open up here the 1st of April, and that's going to make a big hurrah for the 1st of April. Like the little church down below us there on Deep Creek. That last year, I think there was about 30 cars opening day in April. But the national park's always open and the DH is always open right now. So that it's just all the state maintained water's going to open up the 1st of April.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting. Do you know kind of what the stocking schedule is kind of on the tuck for the DH water?
No, I haven't looked, to be honest. I mean, I know we're supposed to get, I'm sure Bryson got, a stocking again a few weeks ago, and we saw the truck I was down actually talking to Jimmy down there in the yard as you come up to my driveway, and we saw the state truck go by to put them in the state water, and they were down there. So I went for a run that night, and I looked off the bridge, and I saw like 60 off the bridge there on Deep Creek. So, I mean, I know they stocked all that ready for the big hurrah.
Yeah.
Opening day.
Yeah. And it's interesting, we were talking last time, we were trying to help people kind of pull instead of push and talking about 3-point grip stuff. And we were talking about what we wanted to talk about this time on the casting side. And we decided we wanted to talk about, how to actually practice and get better. And I think the nicest way we figured out how to say that was to practice with intention.
That's right. Yeah. To have some intention when they practice is a big part of it. And having a cell phone, to be able to record and then look at yourself. But then the question comes up, well, what am I looking for? And I think that there's a lot of places out there to figure out movement of pause, power, and path. I mean, path's pretty simple. If you want a line to go straight, then you got to move it straight. You can put a phone out in front and see if you're moving straight. I mean, it sounds so simple, but I'd say only about a very, very small percentage actually moves straight, which is basically talking about tracking. Force application, you can also see that. You can see if it's too much speed too early, which is going to open it up, like the St. Louis Arch. You could drive a Mack truck through a loop like that. That's another big part of it. And then, of course, the pause is a big part of it. What if they don't wait long enough? That's probably the most common fault with timing is people try to hurry things. And the longer line you carry, the longer you wait. Even if you're throwing it fast, you're going to wait longer if you have 60 feet instead of 30 feet. So I think having a phone, and I think really the best way probably is to go through some type of training, some kind of daily, 1-day training or 2-day training or something where people know what to look for. And once they know that, I think it's pretty empowering that they can basically guide themselves for those improvements you're talking about.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like when I practice, I usually just set a timer for 30 minutes because I think that's kind of about the max, right? I generally try to set a goal for something I want to work on, right? So I might always warm up by practicing on being smooth, but then there's something specific that I want to work on. But then the other thing too, and I'm sure you've got something like this, like I've got an old duck blind bag and I have a bunch of little soccer cones.
Right.
And I have a rope in case I'm not on a soccer field where, you're talking about straight, where you can lay that rope out and you can basically track the fly line or the ride tip on it. And then of course I've got like a track and field measuring tape. So those are kind of some things that are always in that duck blind bag.
Oh yeah, it's great. That's a great toolkit, to have to work on different drills. The triangle drill is a really good one. Lee Cummings uses a lot over in England, and David Lambert he put it in a book called Smart Cast back in the early '90s, and that's kind of like the cones and the rope you're talking about. That works fantastic to put 3 points and just to throw horizontal, and it does so many things. If the line actually goes straight and lands on the rope, then we had to apply, the perfect amount of force in order to do that. If we have too much, it's going to kick. If we have too little, it's going to not straighten. So you're also learning about force application of negative or positive cast. And, straight actually being the hardest.
Yeah.
It's probably the hardest for people when they're learning.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's that I guess there aren't dime stores anymore, so I can't find anywhere to buy hula hoops.
Oh yeah, those are great, the hula hoops, and we still have a few hula hoops my mom got the kids when they were little. But I'll tell you a fast way to do it is using PEX, like the PEX piping for plumbing, and just putting connectors. I mean, I make a lot of 2-foot rings out of PEX, and it makes a perfect circle. You just put the connector and crimp it on. I've got a bunch of red and blue colored ones, and those work real well for accuracy drills.
Yeah, and I think too, if you're looking for a roadmap to practice, I think the CI exam is a pretty good training roadmap.
Oh yeah, I agree with you there. I think it's a real good basis for the basic concepts of the fundamentals, and a lot of people overlook it. And I think I sent you a text on that earlier. The most common thing I hear on the road this winter is people will say they're doing well at 35 feet and they're having trouble going on saltwater trip and they can't throw 50 in the wind. And it's like, well, I'll throw it out there just because it's definitely one of the most common things I've heard over the years. And the reality is 35 feet, we could have good, bad, and ugly all going on, and it's still going to make it 35 feet. What separates it is what goes on past that. And that gets back to the fundamentals of what we're, talking about, of pause, power, and path. And I think that's a big admission to where their 35-foot cast probably has a lot to be desired, if we're having trouble going past that. Because if it had everything going on with the proper ingredients, and then 15, 30, 60 feet further wouldn't be any big deal. But it's obviously a big deal because there's a problem short, So if we fix the problem in the short game, it helps the middle to the long game.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I kind of think about, when you make that jump from you've got your cast as far as you can go without hauling, and then for me, when I started the double haul, things started to break down. I would actually cast not even as far as I could cast without hauling until I did some work.
Right. Yeah, because that can throw the timing and throw a lot of things off. Too early, you get deviates away from straight line path, and too late, the other ill effects happen. There's a lot of different things with the hull. The hull has to be a mirror image, really, of the application of, the amount of force you're using with the rod. It needs to match like a mirror image.
Yeah. And I know you recently just finished up a school. You have any more schools coming up you want to let folks know about?
Yeah, we have another one coming up the 29th of this month, and looking forward to getting that started. We're going to be staying here on East Deep Creek, a cabin right next to the national park. And we're going to have that go on for 5 days, Wednesday to Sunday. Yeah, we're looking forward to getting that started. Then we still have a casting class there in April. We got one spot left open in that, and that's going to be a lot of fun, the advanced casting class, and that covers the CI test that you're talking about, and also the advanced line control that people want for fishing. And I wanted to tell you another one, Marvin, about a boot camp we're going to do up in the Driftless area on the weekend of June 8th, 9th, 10th. That weekend, 3 days long, and the details on that can be found on the website.
Well, awesome. And you want to let folks know the website, and then also I imagine too that you might have a couple guide spots if someone wanted to hop in your boat.
Oh yeah, it's busy. Like April's like late March, early April is like crunch time always in this part of the country. So yeah, the website is just macbrownflyfish.com, and we'll have a lot of blog posts and different information on that. If they're interested on, like you're talking about double haul, there's all kinds of, I think there's 300 and something articles on the blog on that. So that's what I used to just sit down at night and always put up, different articles on different topics in casting and fishing over the years.
Got it. And, folks, we love questions on the Articulate Fly. If you want us to talk about something specifically, either about Western North Carolina fishing or about casting, you can either DM us on social media or shoot me an email, and we're happy to answer your question. And, folks, it's kind of funny. It's been cold, but it's going to probably be almost to the 80s by the weekend. You owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Mac.
Tight lines, Marvin.